You don't need more bookings. You need a better visibility into what is actually making you money. You have inventory, employees, and even clients booking, but do you actually know what is driving your growth and what is draining it? If you can't answer this question, then you're not running a rental business. You're playing a guessing game. A smart reporting system shows you your exact key performance indicators, so you know where your money is coming in from and where it's leaking from, so you could take control. Hello, my name is Tina, and I'm the communications manager of Cali Rentals, and we've generated over $7 million in our lifetime revenue. And today I'm going to show you exactly everything that you need to track and how we do it without lifting a finger. Here are the 4 things that every rental business should be tracking. First is revenue by product. This will tell you exactly which one of your inventory items are making you the most money. Second is most rented or demanded product. And this will tell you which items are in high demand and which ones clients are actually renting out. 3 is customer reports, so you could see who your best clients are and how to serve them better. Now lastly and 4th is your employee reports. This will tell you who your top performers are and who is straggling behind. Now first is being able to view your revenue by each product. This basically just means that you're able to see how much money each and every single one of the products within your inventory are making. And this could really be insightful because you could really see what is actually making you money and what isn't. For example, let's say that dance floors only make up 10% of your inventory. However, they are 30% of what is being rented out to your customers and your client every single day. Well, now you'll know that doubling down on dance floors and investing more into it is a safe choice because it is actually generating revenue. Now, this is important because not only could you see the amount of revenue that it's generating, but if you know exactly how much you are investing into each of the inventory groups or each of the inventory products, you could actually calculate your profit based off of how much you're spending on that inventory item, how much it costs to go out, and once it does go out and once you actually get your revenue report, you could basically subtract the cost of getting that product from your revenue in order to get your profit margins. Now, obviously, this is not going to be an overarching profit margins considering things like labor and stuff like that, but it is enough to know that it does have a better or a worse return on investment. This matters because you could actually focus on what is profitable. There are some inventory items that may look popular, but it doesn't actually bring in revenue. And this is something that we see a lot in Cali Rentals, right? Some people are surprised that we don't offer a specific color of Travari chairs. For example, a while back, a very popular one was silver Travari chairs, but we don't offer that in our inventory, and a lot of people are surprised because at some point they did very well. So because we were able to see that it wasn't performing as well as the other colors, we cut it out of our inventory. And so that's something that you could do to optimize your inventory, and so you could not lose money just by having it hold up base and not actually get rented out. In addition to this, you could also find that some inventory items may be lower volume, but it generates more profits. And a big example that I have of this is our tent. Now, we don't have the most vast collection of tents in the world. We probably have a lot less tents than we do all of our other inventory items, but tents are one of our top earners. And this is only second to chairs. And that is great because come on, when people are renting out chairs, they're renting out tables. And if it's doing better than tables, then tents are a great investment. And so that's something that we were able to see, considering that we only started off with very few tents, and they were the building bones and the backbones of us being able to finally expand our tent inventory a bit, just so that we could get to the point where we were generating around 2 million plus revenue in tents. All right, now, like I mentioned, with the silver Travari chairs, tracking revenue will help with your inventory and planning. Now, it doesn't only have to do with expansion in terms of buying more tents, because you could see that it's more profitable. It also has to do with cutting or retiring items like we had to do with our silver Travari chairs. Now, we are at a point right now where we are also seeing at some point our ghost Travari chairs were doing great. Now it's taking a little dip. Now, we aren't going to completely remove it from our inventory, but there are times whenever some items are more popular than others. And having this tracking, especially because trends change and things change over time, is very valuable, because then you could see season by season what is gaining demand and what is not gaining demand. Sometimes it is time to sell off or retire some of your inventory items. Okay, now second is being able to track your most rented item. And this really kind of goes hand in hand with being able to track your revenue. Now, these two things, yes, they kind of reveal the same things. However, they also help with different things as well, and I'll get into that. All right, now the reason why you would want to pay attention to the frequency in which your inventory items are being rented out and demanded is because, one, it helps with inventory planning. This is very similar to the previous one, where it will help you avoid understocking your popular items or over investing in items that barely move. Two, it helps with maintenance planning. So when you know that some items are going out more frequently than others, you're able to also know that maybe some of these items are being worn down from all of these rentals. And so you could kind of see when you need to make replacements or when you need to make repairs, so that you're able to continue renting these items out without it giving the old look, which in a previous video I know we've mentioned is very big factor in why some clients would complain, right? Like if there's wear and tear, if there are scuff marks, or all these different things, especially for weddings, right? Brides, they're very particular about that. So it really helps you to renew your items, make sure you're keeping them as polished, as cleaned as possible, or as maintained as possible throughout its lifetime. Now, third on this list is being able to forecast your seasonal demand. What this basically means is you're able to see which items are doing well during certain seasons and during certain weathers, while others might be more popular in the opposite times. Now, this isn't only true for the seasons, but it will also help you forecast, which inventory items do best for which type of event. For example, weddings. What are doing well in weddings? What is being rented out in corporate events? What is being rented out for birthday parties, backyard parties, etc. And that kind of gives your team the ability to not only make sure that your inventory items are well-rounded in terms of making sure that, you are in service 24 hours, sorry, not 24 hours, but seasonally all the time. And it also gives your team the ability to upsell, when your sales employees are on the phone with customers and maybe they're dealing with a wedding. Well, now they know what people typically rent out for weddings, and so they could make suggestions to improve someone's event and sell more. Now, like I mentioned with seasonal items, something that works very well for us is heaters during the winter time and fans and coolers during the summertime. Now, in Texas, one of our slowest seasons are our winter seasons. After Thanksgiving is done, after all those time is done, typically around the January portion, this is whenever things are slowing down, right? There's no new holidays. People are recovering from spending money on Black Friday, on Christmas, whatever it is. And so it is a lot slower than other times. However, what we do to counteract that slowness is we invested in heaters, because we know that heaters are going to be rented out. And the cool thing about heaters is that it's not primarily being rented out just by people with parties, right? This is being rented out by businesses, corporations, hotels, whenever there's valet. Well, now there's a heater for your valet outside. For clubs, bars, whenever people are waiting outside, they're standing in line. Having heaters is important so everyone isn't freezing to death waiting to get into your establishment. So that's just something to consider. It's not only useful in terms of making sure that all of the inventory items within your inventory is being rented out all the time, but it also helps counteract the slow times and help you know which inventory items could help you earn more during the slow times, and vice versa. Now, third on this list is your customer report. You should be able to see every single detail of your customer for better planning. And some of these things include their lifetime customer value, which tells you how much these customers have spent with you in total. You should also be able to see all of their order history. So how many orders have they placed with you? For what events have these orders been placed for? So you could kind of get a feel in terms of what types of events these customers typically do. And lastly, you should be able to see your call recordings or your messages with these customers so you could see how interactions with these customers have been like in the past. And for us, this is important because it really helps us get a sense and a feel of our customers, what they like, what they dislike. Have we had an issue with this customer in the past? Did this customer have an issue with us in the past that we should be careful of? So those are just some of the things that a proper CRM system will help you with. All right, now the 3 reasons why this matters is because 1, you're able to identify your more loyal customers or your VIP customers. And these are customers that every single year they come back to you, or maybe for every single event, they come back to you. And so you could really see the value of them and how you could improve their experience. For us, a big customer is SneakerCon. Every single year, whenever they come to Dallas, they resort to us. Now, the first time that we had attended SneakerCon, we were a lot smaller, and so we didn't really perform the best. But since we were still able to make everything happen and everything went smoothly, they have now returned to us. And so now going forward, since we know this is a loyal customer, we know they always spend with us, and we've built that type of relationship with them by being able to track their movements and stuff through our software, we know how we should deal with them. And so every single year, we definitely get a lot more efficient when it comes to setting up with them, when it comes to placing orders, managing sales, and just different things like that, especially because we do also provide staffing for them as well. So yeah, and so this is just something that you really need to look into, because maybe sometimes your loyal customers are the ones that you should give the most attention to, because you know that they're going to spend again. Now, second on this list, it will help you with targeted marketing. Whenever you know who is renting what, when are they renting it and why are they renting it, you're really able to make targeted ad campaigns and even your email campaigns really specific based on that information. Maybe for spring, whenever you get a lot of weddings, now it's time to send out all of the wedding emails. Maybe during the winter time, whenever you know that people are setting up for Thanksgiving, people are setting up for Christmas. Well, now you know to send all of your ad campaigns and your email campaigns towards items that people rent out for those specific occasions. And so yeah, it will basically just personalize your ads, and so you could really narrow down and target what works. Now, third on this list is it will help you with service quality tracking. Whenever you're tracking things like customer calls, customer emails, text messages, any interactions with the customer, you're really able to see their feedback, maybe any reviews they have, and whether these feedback are positive or negative. And you're also able to kind of test the waters and see if it is negative feedback, are these people willing to come back to work with me, and what do I need to do to get them to that point? And yeah, this will really help you build a relationship with your customer, especially when things go wrong and customers are able to see that not only are you prompt, you take them serious, and you are willing to work with them to make an improvement or fix their problems for them. People tend to get more loyal because they know that you're someone who is reliable. You're a business that they could rely on, and that they could go back to, and that they don't mind spending money with. So those are just some things to keep in mind. Now, fourth on this list is your employee report. Accountability definitely drives performance. So it's important to be able to see, who are your key staff members or areas of weakness that they may have. And it's also important to spot some of the small issues you might be having with your team before it becomes major. Now, with this, you are able to set clear expectations based on real data. You want to reward what is actually working. When you're able to see who is driving your business forward, you could recognize your top performers and give them things like bonuses, raises, or even give them incentives to work harder, and recognition such as 1, your top sales rep of the month. 2, your top drivers of the month. Maybe this is based off of no missed deliveries, or maybe even being able to make all of the deliveries on time and go out of their way to do more. And 3, recognize your warehouse team members that have the top prep accuracy. And every single time when they prepare an item, clean an item, it's always clean, there's no complaints about it, and it's always ready for the drivers to make their deliveries or make their rounds. Now, these reports are not only going to help you with recognizing and setting expectations for your employees, but it will also help with your customer experience. A lot of negative reviews will come from missed deliveries, having the wrong number of items within the deliveries, or maybe even having poor customer service. And so whenever you are tracking all of that and you're able to see who handled what clients, when you're able to see what went wrong and why it went wrong, you could prevent some of these repeated issues. At some point, you are going to have to ask yourself and see, is this a sales miscommunication, or was it a warehouse error? Is it a driver being late, or was his route just being overbooked so he couldn't make it in time? Whenever you are able to get these employee reports, you're able to pinpoint the root cause of some of these issues rather than just addressing the symptoms of it. Now I'm going to show you how we do all of this without lifting a single finger through our software Rentmore Pro. So I have our dashboard pulled up right now. The first thing I'm going to show you guys is our employee reports. And so this will tell you a number of things, like how many successful stops a driver has had, unsuccessful stops, total deliveries, total pickups, customer pickups, customer returns, total quotes created, which is more for your salespeople, total payments processed, also for sales, total contracts created, and total calls processed. Now, I'm going to pick an employee that I know does all of this, and that is going to be Lily. So Lily is Eddie's wife, and she kind of does everything from drives to sometimes sales calls, especially if the customer only speaks Spanish. So she's more of our Spanish representative when it comes to the sales calls. So here you could see that Lily has had 725 successful stops and only 6 unsuccessful stops. And she's also done some of these other things as well. Now, whenever you look down here, you could see when she's arrived at areas and when she's completed that specific stop. Now, a cool thing about our software is it actually times whenever a driver has arrived versus whenever they are completed with their delivery. And so this is important because you could see how long it takes for drivers to offload items or even set up items. And if you go over to earn delivery income, you could see the amount in commissions that she makes for each and every single one of her deliveries. Now, with us, we don't pay drivers per hour because we saw that drivers would just eat up time. They'll sit at a parking lot, wait for a little bit just so that they could have more time on their hands. So instead, we opted to commission-based. That means every single time whenever you complete a delivery, every time when you complete a pickup, that is a commission towards your pocket. And it really keeps all of our employees or all of our drivers a lot more motivated to get the job done. All right, now I'm going to go into your inventory reports. Now, as you could see, we definitely have a ton of other reports that our software handles, like customer reports, payment reports, order reports, sales tax reports, and delivery fee reports. But I'm only just going to cut it down for 2 for the sake of this video. So now going on to inventory reports, you're able to select the date in which you want to track. I'm just going to look at last month, which is May. And then you could also select what categories you want to run the reports for. Now I'm just going to select all and run the report. So you could see that in the month of May, we have made $135,000 in sales. We had about 24,000 items rented out, 443 orders, and our damage waiver made up $16,260. If you go down here, you'll be able to see the customer, what they rented out, their order number, the quantity, the price, as well as their total. If you go by group by inventory, you'll be able to see what inventory item made what, how much was rented out, how much did they make, the weekly quantity average, and the weekly amount average. If you go over to damage waiver, you could also see how much each item has made in the damage waiver as well, since we do charge a percentage for our damage waiver. Now, let's say that you wanted to do this for, I don't know, chairs, right? Well, you could select chairs instead, and you could run your sales report. And now you'll see everything for chairs. And whenever you group it by inventory, you'll be only able to see your chair inventory. And so, yeah, now you could see that the total sales has changed because now it's not considering all items, it's only considering chairs. And the cool thing about this is you could actually export it to a CSV. So if you ever need it for anything else, you could just export all of this information. Now, this data is so valuable for your growth. You know, all of this data and all of this numbers, a lot of small business think that, you know, it's only for corporations or bigger businesses, but that's not really the case. Even if you're a smaller business, having these numbers will really tell you what you need to do to improve your business. You know, you're able to see where your bottlenecks are. You're really able to see where everything is in terms of your employees, your inventory, you know, and these are very big, important parts of the operations of your business. So having these reports, which are key performance indicators, will tell you what you need to do to pivot, what you need to do to remove a bottleneck, etc. And so this will help you with, one, informed decision making. You're no longer guessing what you need to do. You're no longer, you know, seeing what you need to keep in stock of or seeing what the market is like, because you have your own data and for your own location and for your own business as well. Now, second, this will help with improving your profits. You know, you're focusing on what makes you money and what's not, you know, so you are not just keeping busy with things that not draining only your resources, but your time as well. Now, third, this will help you with faster scaling. Whenever you're able to see what is working and what is not, it helps you to really replicate what is bringing you success. You know, you get to hire more strategically and you get to expand into new locations or event types with confidence, because you know that all of your actions are backed by data and that, you know, some of these things have been tested and tried, right? You have tried this specific inventory, it didn't work out, so you try another one. And so it's just a learning process. Whenever you go through business, you know, you'll always have the failures, you'll always have bottleneck, things that don't work out, but it's how you learn from that, and it's how you kind of analyze what has happened in the time and make improvements for the future that will really determine your success. Without data, you're just working hard, but with the data, you're working smart. So keep that in mind. Now, if you currently do not have a software that does any of this tracking or reporting, please refer to Rent More Pro. That is the software designed by us that I had showed you how to work. And it doesn't only just help with reporting, it helps with inventory tracking, it helps with generating automatic quote, automatic invoices, etc., so that you could expedite your business and its proficiency. Please click the link in the description for a free demo today. Now, if you like this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe so we could bring you more videos like this.